Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today.
Hollywood Historical Men in Crisis.
One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Historical Men in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Historical Men in Crisis series, I'm going to be talking about INXS lead singer Michael Hutchence. All images used in this video are under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 and are used in conjunction with my commentary. Now, Michael Hutchence was the lead singer of the new wave rock band INXS, and he is known for the iconic albums Kick and X, and the iconic 1980 songs I Need You Tonight, Devil Inside, New Sensation, and Suicide Blonde. Now, Michael Hutchence didn't start out on the road to becoming a man in crisis until he started to become a major star. And his life in the beginning looked like one of great promise because Michael Hutchence was born in Crow's Nest, Sydney, to a businessman father, Frank Hutchence, and a mother, Patricia Glossop, who was a makeup artist. And while the father had to travel all across the globe, he did provide a stable life for his entire family, even though the family had to move to different areas early on, including places like Hong Kong. Michael Hutchence's father did a great job of taking care of his son, who was on the way to becoming a promising swimmer, being trained by an Olympic medalist, I believe, in swimming. And he was on his way to starting a career in swimming until he broke his arm. Now, after breaking his arm at I think about 8 years old, Michael Hutchence started to focus on poetry instead, since he couldn't go out here and swim competitively. And he went out here and started to make his first song at 8 years old. Now, he was just doing this for fun, and he didn't think of making this into any sort of career in music. And he eventually wound up, when the family returned to Sydney in 1972, started attending Davidson High School, where he met and befriended his future bandmate, Andrew Farris. Now, Michael Hutchence and Andrew Farris spent a lot of time jamming in the garage with Andrew's brothers, and they eventually had persuaded Michael to join their band, Dr. Dolphin. And after he worked with that band for a while, they eventually wound up graduating from high school and then went on to form a new band. And as they formed a new band, they eventually started out as the Vegetables. And then after performing as the Vegetables, they then did a tour of the pub rock circuit and then were renaming themselves INXS in 1979. Now, INXS got started in 1979, and they started out with their first top 40 hit, Just Keep Walking, in 1980. And Michael Hutchence became the face of the band, and he looked like he was on the road to the same type of success that his father had, and he was on his way to building that career. And it wasn't until INXS in 1985 did their song The Swing, that's when they started on their road to stardom. And with that song, they really started to move up and in the entertainment industry, and that's where INXS won awards for the 1984 Countdown Video Music Awards. That's when they won for Best Songwriter and Most Popular Male. That's what Michael Hutchence had won his first big awards. And he started going out here and moving himself forward and started even doing some acting with the Australian film Dogs in Space. So he was on his road to having great success. And in 1986, he was working on that iconic album, Kick. And it was that song, Kick, that really took INXS from being a major band to becoming a superstar band. Now, Kick was a major album in the 1980s, and I remember hearing a lot of the songs on it on places like Z100 and 95.5 WPLJ, And you couldn't go anywhere without hearing the song I Need You Tonight, which was basically a defining song of 1987. Now, you also heard New Sensation too. Those two songs were huge in the 1980s. And Michael Hutchence on the stage dancing in I Need You Tonight was an iconic moment of the 1987. And it was a major moment in 1987 that basically led to INXS sweeping the MTV Video Music Awards. I mean, this album was huge at the time, and it was one of the biggest albums to come out of the 80s next to Michael Jackson's Bad and I'd say Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation and Madonna's Like a Prayer. These were and Prince's Purple Rain. These were the biggest albums of the 80s, but in 1987 INXS was the biggest dark wave band, to ever go out here and take it to the next level. And in 1987, INXS again was huge, and Michael Hutchence was rising as an international star. Now he collaborated with for the Max Q project and other bands, and he also was out here out here making other albums, and he was also out here doing other types of projects until he launched his other huge album, which was X. Now, X was another huge album. This basically was one that defined the early 90s, and the two songs that were the biggest hits were Suicide Blonde and Disappear. And Suicide Blonde was a song that was basically about Michael Hutchence's then girlfriend, Kylie Minogue, who went on to have her own promising career. And the whole Suicide Blonde was basically based on Kylie Minogue, who had blonde hair at the time. And Disappear was another powerful song. And again, this was the major success of Michael Hutchence and INXS. And INXS was again one of those films that just took music to the next level as related to darkwave, and basically took Michael Hutchence's career to that next level, which was super stardom. And again, Michael Hutchence was again having great success as a musician. Unfortunately, on the road to that success, he wound up becoming a man in crisis, because as he was out here dating stars like Kylie Minogue and model Helena Christensen and Kim Wilson, he wound up on the road to getting involved with a female predator, Paula Yates. Now, Paula Yates had basically targeted Michael Hutchence and said she was going to get with him to his manager, and made up a plan to get involved with Michael Hutchence. And her plans to get involved with Michael Hutchence basically put him on the road to becoming a man in crisis. Now, Michael Hutchence was caught up in his stardom and the fame that he was having, and he wasn't really thinking critically. Even though I believe his father gave him guidance, he just became so spellbound and caught up in the Hollywood life, he could not see the dark road he was on, because Paula Yates was basically one of these groupies who was looking to monkey branch from man to man, and was looking for a man to get involved with who would give her the biggest payday as related to taking care of her as she was getting older. Now, Paula Yates basically saw Michael Hutchence as a big payday because he was a superstar musician. Now, she was involved already with a man, Bob Geldof, after having numerous sexual relationships with musicians. She had gotten involved with another beta male, Bob Geldof, who was a producer of her show, The Big Breakfast, and she decided to go out here and invite Michael Hutchence onto her show. And after she invited Michael Hutchence onto her show, what she did was go out here and get with Michael Hutchence. And after she got with Michael Hutchence, she was looking to go out here and have an affair with him, saying that she was going to have that boy Hutchence, and she was looking to go out here and get with him. And again, looking to get with him in order to get to the next payday. And she eventually wound up having an affair with Michael Hutchence, which led to her becoming pregnant with his daughter, Tiger Lily. And after she got pregnant with Tiger Lily was basically used as a bargaining chip by Bob Geldof and Paula Yates to go out here and and destroy Michael Hutchence. Again, Michael Hutchence was not in the right mental state because in 1992 he had had an accident when was eating some pizza with his girlfriend at the time. And as he was eating some pizza in Copenhagen with his girlfriend, Helena Christensen, they were riding some bikes and they stopped to just eat some pizza. And a taxi came up and they didn't want to move for the taxi. And the taxi driver then beat up Michael Hutchence and he wound up hitting his head on the roadway. And once he hit his head on the roadway, he had a fractured skull. And this fractured skull related to major brain damage. And this brain damage took away Michael Hutchence's sense of smell, his loss of taste, and it led to periods of depression and increased levels of aggression to the point where he was basically confronting every member of the INXS band. And as he was becoming unstable, he had gotten involved with Paula Yates, and Paula Yates basically used his daughter Tiger Lily as a pawn in a custody battle. And I believe it was this custody battle that led to Michael Hutchence winding up in despair. This and what happened with his later record, Elegantly Wasted. Elegantly Wasted was supposed to be Michael Hutchence's next big album, but sadly, Elegantly Wasted did not do well, and it was a critically panned. And after being critically panned, Elegantly Wasted was a certified flop. And I believe it was this and the custody battle that led to Michael Hutchence winding up in a bout of depression and despondency. And it was this bout of depression and despondency that led to Michael Hutchence taking his life. Now, Michael Hutchence was a man on the road to success. Unfortunately, as his star rose, he wound up on the road to becoming a man in crisis. And he wound up on the road to becoming a man in crisis because he was dealing with so much stress as related to his mental health deteriorating and dealing with the failure of Elegantly Wasted and the custody battle he was in with Paula Yates, and this further being exacerbated by her beta male husband, Bob Geldof, threatening to deny him from being able to visit his own daughter. All of these pressures basically led to Michael Hutchence becoming so despondent that he wound up taking his own life because he just was under so much pressure as related to the struggles with success and not being able to be a part of his own daughter Tiger Lily's life. All of this led to Michael Hutchence being on the road to becoming a man in crisis. And sadly, nobody knew how to help Michael Hutchence because when people are on the road to stardom, you wind up in a road full of predators. And when you wind up on a road full of predators, people are looking to devour you, not looking to support you. And I believe the worst thing that happened is that Michael Hutchence never really got the support that he needed. And he basically felt like he had no hope and no help as related to being able to have a relationship with Tiger Lily, his daughter, but he wound up on the road to becoming a man in crisis because the entertainment industry is filled with sharks and predators, and the whole thing is those sharks and predators are looking to devour anyone on the road to success who doesn't have any sort of good guidance. And Michael Hutchence did have good guidance from his father, but sadly he didn't understand how to navigate the dark road of the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is a shark tank, and if you don't know how to navigate life in that entertainment industry, you will be eaten alive. And again, that's one of the things that motivated, I believe, Michael Hutchence to wind up taking his life, was all those pressures from Hollywood and all those predatory people. All of this led to Michael Hutchence winding up from going on the road to being a man in success like his father to becoming a man in crisis who sadly wound up losing his life and leaving his daughter Tiger Lily without a man to give her guidance. Now, if you want to learn more about what leads to men becoming men in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And you can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos about historical men in crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App. And if I know something about that man in crisis, I will make that video detailing how they are a historical man in crisis. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, All About Nikki, a fabulous first season. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meets Clueless in this absolutely fabulous African-American 1990s teen sitcom. Get all 13 episodes of All About Nikki, the fabulous first season, in paperback and e-readers today.